Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, hello, and welcome to Atomic Mass Transmissions Live. Today we're painting up Sif, the Asgardian warrior, a supreme badass, and just really cool miniature. I'm so excited for this one. Enough of the ribble rabble and the jibba jabba. Let's kick it to the minicam, and let's do this. Use take two. Always use take two. Tony always makes me take two. That's why I call him Tony 2 times. Makes you do it twice. Well, Brandon G. Hoff. Should be cool. I'd love to see some walkthroughs on how to paint smoke plumes, explosions, and somewhere. Whoa, we'll have to do a smoke plumes video. But unfortunately, Sif does not have explosions. I bet if you go through our YouTube in the way back years, I bet me or Schick did several how to do smoke explosions or smokeplosions. What's the plan today, Dallas? Any techniques to show off, teach us? Oh man, I don't have a plan. When do people start expecting me to have a plan? I don't like it. I just thought it'd be fun to paint this miniature because I'm real excited to paint this miniature. I wonder the same thing every day there, crusty bozo. I think a ruined Xavier School for Gifted Youngsters would be gigantic. How many tools would it take to get that made?
For the whole mansion?
Yeah. A lot.
Yeah, that's pretty big. That's a lot of frames.
The number of tools. You can fit multiple frames on a tool, but you only get so many tools. Do I want, so the studio miniature has legs exposed, but I think I want to do black leggings because she has black hair and I kind of want that triangle of black. So I think I want to do black leggings to kind of add that extra layer of black to it. Just from a compositional standpoint. Let's find, not bold pyrrole. What's that other red called? Everything's all mixed up. Orange, transparent, bold. Where's that dark red? Did Schick steal a paint? No. Oh, there's burnt red. Oh, let's use the Adepticon color red oxide. I could imagine that, Fester. The problem would be the size of that box and the cost of that miniature, right? Like, you know, it's all about the number of frames. Or number of tools, sorry. And it'd take a lot of tools to make that. Plus the sculpting time, boy, oh boy. Can I imagine? Yes. Do you actually want me to imagine? I don't think you do. How did we land on this pose for Sif? I don't remember. I'm pretty sure this went through several iterations. And we had multiple ideas. And there was just something about this cool sword fighter. Like, we knew we wanted something to show the walls were the same for most part, and furniture was added to change the room. That works to some extent, yes. But I remember we wanted something really dramatic and badass to show Sif fighting prowess. And so that was kind of like the design start. I need to bring up concept. Can you bring up concept and put it on screen? Just a piece of art, Tony. Yeah. I think her little winglets are red. But we definitely wanted something to show her ready for battle. Oh, they're white rats. I'm doing this all wrong. Why are you taking it away? Rude. What is happening? There we go. That's all I need. You're good. I just need a general idea because I can't remember the placement of the colors, but that's good enough right there. I mean, we can paint it however we want, right? Anyways, I think Preston drew a bunch of the poses, and we just kind of landed on this one. We thought it was pretty cool that you know, squaring off against a foe is always pretty cool looking. I think we're going to go more black and red instead of black and white. What does everybody think of that? Boo, 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 doo, boo, doo, boo, doo. They're not trying to get out of me what she does in the game. I know we talked about her before. You mentioned that this model breaks rules about how to sculpt miniatures to not look tiny. She looks great. The hero win for her cape and hair. So do these one at a time. Okay, so yeah, a lot of times on miniatures, crunching them up makes them feel small, but also blocking their face can be quite problematic. But sometimes you do something and it breaks the rules and you're like, it just kind of works. And I think what works here is the overall attitude of what the character is still comes out without needing to see the face. And I think that's a big part of it, right? As far as the rule breaking, is this ability to like still read the intent of the character and the personality. That doesn't always translate. So it's tricky, and it's something we try to avoid. And yeah, when you're working with miniatures, right, everything is so small. And when you crunch up your body, you get smaller, right? That makes perfect sense, right? If you crunch up your body, you're smaller. So it can be real tricky to pull off a miniature crunched up. And there's ways, there's little tricks that sculptors have to like kind of like mitigate that. You know, some companies will actually scale up something crunched up or something crouching. They'll actually be a little bit bigger than they should be. So like if there's a character that's like 5'10", they might make it like 6 foot or 6'1", and then crunch it up. I think the other benefit here is our Asgardians are all pretty beefy, and so that kind of does that for itself here, right? That sort of artificial buffing is sort of built into the Asgardian. And then just her design is simple, right? There's not a lot of bulky bits that are breaking her silhouette. It allows the silhouette to read, right? So you see the line of the legs, you see the torso, the way the arm comes across. The cape, of course, adds, you know, anytime you get to add a cape to a miniature, it's always better. So I think it all just works together. Like all these combinations just bring this miniature together. It makes it visually interesting still on the table, even though she's pretty crunched up. Tips on painting the larger areas cloak. My result can often be weaker than the smaller areas. Maybe bad brushstrokes. So I actually like bad brushstrokes on the larger areas, personally. I like giving that little bit of like texture. As you know, I'm a big fan of texture. We'll get to the cape here in a little bit. We'll do the cape. Put a dot of red and gray into the black. Oh, me and Edna would not get along. More capes. Even characters that don't traditionally have capes. I'm like, what if it did? These are traditionally like white wraps, but I'm going to do black. I think black and red is going to look really sharp. We can still bring some white into the costume though. Yes, this box definitely has 4 capes in it. This is definitely our oops all capes. Look, those Asgardians love capes. My partner may have threatened to buy me a cape this week when I mentioned that if I had a cape, I would leave every room or in every conversation with a cape twist and a "till next time," just out of context. Tony, can you imagine like every single meeting I just end with a cape twist and a "till next time"?
If you had that cape big enough, you could swipe it across the lens, and that would be our transition.
Oh, that'd be, yeah, the transition out.
Yeah.
But like, imagine I'm just standing in your office and we're talking about some nonsense thing. You're like, oh, and then my kids did this, and then we went camping, and then it rained, and I'm like, oh, that's terrible, Tony. That sounds like an exciting camping trip. And you're like, yeah, okay, well, I gotta do this email, and I'm like, cool, and then I just go, till next time, like, just, and like, it's always enthusiastic and ridiculous.
Even better if you can't see the cape until you're doing it.
Oh, a concealed cape? Oh, how do we paint a sword capable of cutting fallen stars? We should do, well, okay, so we need to get to the sword and the cape today, huh? Is that what everybody's saying? What's the name of her sword again? Somebody in chat? Oh, I don't have rules. They don't trust me with rules. Jean jacket with a concealed cape. Oh man. These are my people, Tony. Unlike my stepdad, these people know me.
I'm not 100% 100% sure, but I don't know that Sif's sword has a name.
No, it totally does, right? Art and sculpting info. Sometimes that's all I do is art and sculpting info. That's my whole job. Yeah, she's wielded Dragon Fang. I don't know. I don't think this is the names. I thought she had another sword. You know what? Let's make it. We're gonna make it. We got.
Says here, after the death of her brother, Sif inherited her brother's sword,
Hofend.
and took his job.
Hofend. Let's make a magic sword, though. Let's make a sword worthy of cutting fallen stars in half. I just like that phrase. So of course I need turquoise, right? Like if you're going to paint a magic sword wielded by somebody in primary red colors, you need turquoise, right? Not transparent green. I need the turquoise. Is my face right in the way? Oops. Oopsie poopsies. I need Jason Craze to come here and hand me paint colors. Where's Jason Craze? Alright, so I'm going to use dark emerald and turquoise. The reflective nature of the sword. So I think what I'm going to do, it's just pure color theory, light color theory here. We're not going deep on the color theory, but like red always looks good with greens, right? Tony agrees. They're complementary. So I want to make like this is turquoise, this is dark emerald. So I want that sword to have that green jade. We want to get that. What's like my favorite fictional sword? While that layer dries, we'll throw it on our hair. Just a base coat. I got a little glazed medium in here, so it kind of works like a wash. Anybody gonna comment on that terrible brush I have? I'm using the word favorite in like the parlance of our time, man. Like just for the conversation. But I'm not going to say the name of it, but can somebody guess a green sword? A fictional green sword that you think I might just think is just one of the coolest swords. And we're going to base this sword off of. To some extent. Sometimes a rough brush does the job. Is that a t-shirt? So like the squeaky wheel gets the grease, the rough brush gets the bin. I think she'd actually look pretty good with like red earwings too. Okay, everything's still drying, so we're gonna go back to the skin. Base tone with a little red tones. A little wash medium. No one's even taken a guess at my sword. Nope. It is not sci-fi. Nope. Not Arthurian legend. I love Excalibur. Also, I love that in Marvel Universe, there's a sword. There's the Excalibur sword and the Excelsior sword. Diamond sword from Minecraft. That's a great one. Not the correct answer, but a wonderful guess. Okay, let's take that dark jade and add black. And a little glazed medium, just a little touch. A little more black. Too much black. We're going to think about how this edge of the sword is facing the ground, so it's catching the shadows. Oh, I do love Glamdring. Glamdring's not green. It's not a sci-fi sword. I need regular jade out. Sting was silver and shown blue. Fester got it. Fester got it. And more black. Good job. Blend that black out so that green just starts to be a nice undertone to the whole sword. And you don't have to do all this. Whoa. Need to come back to that. Mix red and green together to make a brown for the final shade on the flesh. I'm keeping this in the ocular cavities, the side of the nose. Maybe frame the face. The face is a little tricky, but doesn't have to be perfect. Oh, fast. Follow Stallion. Stallion. Playing a lot of MCP in Latin America. Oh, awesome. The truth is, with the box of monsters or apocalypse, which is coming, they gave me the gift. No, you never know. Well, Fast Stallion, I hope you're having fun playing Marvel Crisis Protocol. We're glad you're playing. I'm having fun playing Marvel Crisis Protocol. I want to try to get in a game in a couple weeks, actually, I think. Because I haven't played in a little bit. Monument Hobbies in the house. Jason Craze, is that you? Because if it was, I was just talking about how I need you to come here on paint streams and hand me my paints when I ask for them. Or you can send me Sweet Baby J. I'll leave that up to you. Nope, never heard of him. That guy? We don't talk about that guy. We're currently using the Adepticon set. And a few others. Turning into Diva. Rude! Tony, you worked with me a long time. How many times have I ever expressed diva energy?
Don't make me answer hard questions.
Oh, rude. Look, I have one rider, and it's for Adepticon, and it has to do with cupcakes. It's the only thing I've ever demanded. I want cupcakes when I go to Adepticon. Oh, now Jeremy's jumping in here on me. Rude. All right, kids, do we like the red band or should it go white? I'm thinking red because I think the red is really going to look cool.
Yeah, I think red is the way to go.
Looks really rad, right? Oh no, I'm not making anybody bring me cupcakes except for AMG. AMG owes me cupcakes when I go to Adepticon. It's my only request. I added a little heavy warm white to our jade. Using the side of the brush. And even though it's in shadow, let's do a darker version of this. And do the bottom edge. This is going to be tricky because of cameras. Oh yeah, that'd be cool. Stallion, do like a little Bifrost like around the new Thor mini. How would we do that? How would we add Bifrost around the miniature? I guess we could just take the Heimdall Bifrost and do like a little conversion. Be pretty sweet. If somebody does that, they should definitely post it. Sounds like something you'd see for the worthy as well, right? Like a cool diorama, like Heimdall and like some rocks. He's like bifrosting Thor to fight Loki, like a little battle scene. That'd be pretty cool, right? Let's do this cape. So I got a little mixed medium, and I'm just brushing it all. I'm brushing all the same direction, making sure it doesn't get poolied uppied. And I'm not going to keep working in one spot. I want to keep moving, so I don't, as paint dries in one spot, I don't keep working it. That'll rough it up. And yeah, it's not covered yet. That's okay. And this is the way I paint. You could totally grab like Monument Bright Pyro Red and, you know, get a large brush and do it in one coat. The Bright Pyro Red definitely covers in one coat, but still the same philosophy. Like, don't sit there and work a zone, trying to get it. Make sure that paint's drying as you go. Not sure how I'm going to do OSL with Namor, Panther, Sable, or Shang-Chi, but I'll try it. Namor. You could have not necessarily OSL. I mean, it is OSL. So, source lighting doesn't have to mean like there's a magic item. I'm actually painting my Namor now. What happened to my Namor at Adepticon? Did Elizabeth Beckley take my Namor? I think she did, didn't she? Elizabeth Beckley. Stealing my Namor. But I'm painting my Namor now, and I'm doing like he's riding the waves of water. So I'm putting like a hint of blue reflecting onto the underside of his legs and stuff like that, right? So that's effectively the same as OSL. For Panther, I'm painting mine like the Panther miniature, not Black Panther T'Challa, but like the Black Panther next to him is as like a spirit, right? It's not actually a physical panther. It's like the spirit of Bast, like alongside him, guiding him on his mission. So I'm doing it more like a spirit. So you could totally like have that like casting like a little faint glow up against Black Panther. What was the other ones you mentioned? Namor, Black Panther, Shang-Chi. Yeah, probably a little more difficult. I mean, you could do not necessarily object source light, but like atmospheric lighting on Shang-Chi. Sable, you could have if you do her very reflective, you could have the sparks from the shot she's dodging being reflected on her costume. That would actually be pretty cool too, wouldn't it? I love big red capes. So dramatic. I like challenges with miniatures. What do you think about using a little cotton for a miniature like Dracula or Werewolf? Yeah, if you like the look of it and you feel like it represents your story, then I'm all for it, right? Make them feel like they're spooky ooky. Okay, quick tabletop capes. Here we go, red capes. I need a little bit of that hold your blue. I'm going to put a little touch of this in my red. This is a bright pyro red and red oxide. That's my red I'm using. I'm going to put this in the shadows. And I'm going to do kind of the same thing. I'm going to keep moving in the same direction in the way the cape is moving. And then right there I'm going to grab a second brush and smooth that transition a little. Not really two brush blending really per se. More wet blending. We got a little more blue in there. So instead of blending it out, I'm just sort of keeping my brush moving in that same direction. Then that paint needs to dry, obviously. But I'm just going to work that like that back and forth, and then I'm going to throw some highlights on it, it'll be done. Bring up more black on those pants. Little blends. Oh gosh, 10 minutes, kids. Better ask your questions. And hopefully they're not about woodchucks. this one's not going to get finished. For certainly. Which sculpt in this box was the most challenging? Probably Thor. Yeah, okay, so 2 questions. Sorry. Yeah, probably Thor. You know, we really wanted to get him up in the air this time. And Thor's a big, beefy boy. And we'd already had the Mighty Thor Jane Foster sort of locked. And so we wanted something different than that, obviously. And we had a really old, if I remember right, we had an old unused Thor Rivals design. And then we kind of took that and like iterated upon that. So that Thor, but like getting him up in the air and making him not be cumbersome and stuff like that. Like he was the more difficult one. Loki was probably the easiest. Then Sif, then Jane Foster, then Mighty Thor. And then yeah, the other question about the reactivating. Yeah, I like using thin paints on this stuff for speed. You know, keeping my paints really thin and just making sure that stuff is dry, and I just keep stretching. I like that stretchiness that the paint gives, that you can get. It adds to the flow of the cloth. Without necessarily becoming a 2-brush blend master, right? You're just kind of stretching that paint, you know. And then when we want to highlight, we just I prefer like warm yellow. You can also go with the heavy warm white or pure white and make it more pink, make it more orange. It's your choice when you're highlighting red. I go back and forth, sometimes orange, sometimes pink. Right, but a little heavy warm yellow and bright pyrrole red, and you can start, you know, working the edges, even all the way down in the shadows, because that light next to dark always looks super good. And then on this highlight parts, right, you do the same thing. Do a couple lines of that heavy hot yellow, and just sort of damp brush back and, you know, straight lines it. It's very fast, very effective. Gives you that punch. Oh, Tony, can you scroll up just a little bit? We can get all these questions before we end. You're not scrolling up.
Oh, sorry, I scrolled.
That one, I want that question. Those interactive trains like the one in Wakanda that damages energy, or the shrine in Asgard that I think gives power. Will things like that continue to come out because it seems fabulous to me that able to interact another? I think so. That's more of a dev question, but I can totally see us wanting to like make sure like we keep doing stuff like that because it's very fun. It's very, very, very fun. Mr. Rich, have you ever concepted a pose for a character and thought it would be better suited for someone? Oh, absolutely. That happens all the time. That actually happened. Was it Friday? We were concepting something, and then I was like, oh, just that goes. Like I said, the character. I was like, that just save that one, Preston. Like just save that for later. We do a lot of poses where it's like, where we do like 6 iterations of a pose, or you know, like say Tony or Preston or Josh is doing poses. they'll draw 5 or 6 different poses, and then we have to pick one, right? Or we iterate from those 6 and be like, okay, but I'll take number 3, but put the legs of number 2 and turn the head slightly this way, right? It's it's always a dance, but there's definitely times where where I'll get one of those sheets, of multiple poses and just be like, that one is one we save for later. Like I'll be like, oh, I remember one that was like, I was like, that's a Hulk pose, right? Or that's so you just save those, you just earmark those and you save them for later, and then you're just like, great, we have a pose, we're ready. And then of course we immediately iterate on that. Immediately, just immediately, and everything goes out the window, and you're like, well, we had something, but now we're making something. Now we're changing it again. So, that actually quite common. What motivated you to release classic Loki this time? I mean, who doesn't love classic Loki? We wanted a classic Thor, and let's do a classic Loki, because I mean, everybody loves classic Loki. The big horns, majestic. It just felt like the right time. But there you go. That's literally how I do my quick tabletop capes. Is just like that, right? I like doing really fast stuff for tabletop. I don't have to have it perfect. I'm not entering painting competitions. So this has got to look cool for a tabletop. And you can do some really quick stuff that's very effective. Tell me, what do you think of my green sword?
I love it. I always love things with volume. I always love things that are colored with jade. It's one of my favorite go-to color schemes. And I also think that jade swords communicate, that it's magic or it's somehow special.
Yeah, I always imagine like a jade sword is like unearthly, right? There's like an unearthliness to it. Boom, boom, that sword. Yeah, turquoise goes good against red, so you want to choose those right colors. Also, I think our tabard should be red in retrospect. Compositionally, from the miniatures standpoint. That looks way better, right, Tony?
The wash of red?
Yeah.
Yeah, it just punches it up.
Yeah, I think changing that to red is what you want to do, just from a compositional standpoint. We'll do the back one as well. Yeah, I think that little kick of red is what you need there. Ties it all up. And then now the accent colors the white on the white fur now becomes like a nice accent instead of the black is the accent. So we kind of inverted everything a little bit there. I think it works quite well. And then we made the sword this fancy non-metallic metal unearthly ore the scheme has added a level of menace to her. Yeah, I think so. I think it's a little darker, right? It's a little darker take, which is fine sometimes. I'm not, you know, I may be the age I am and grew up with the 90s the way the 90s was, but I'm definitely not a everything needs to be dark and gritty person, but it is sometimes kind of cool to like kind of do like that, you know, I don't want to say grimmer take, because I don't think this is grim, but it is nice to throw in that darker take. She's not just standing there. She is squaring off. This is the square off. Little wet blend there. Just to show where that white lies. See, that's going to look really slick. And then I think you do like a fancy ivory handle as well, right? Or not handle, but a scabbard. And I think it adds another pop of that white accent to the overall thing, and it also makes that scabbard look more fancy and regal. Like maybe this is all, maybe this crossguard's more fancy. Nice pop. Oh, she's definitely going to get stuck in. Kel, she's definitely going to get stuck in and mess some fools up. She will not suffer a fool. All right, we went 5 minutes over, Tony. Sorry.
No worries.
Not bad for an hour. Not bad. Not bad. We worked on cape and faces and cool swords. Not really. Really, what more could you ask for? Capes, faces, and cool swords. Man, I just need a cape and a cool sword. All right, anyways. Next week, there are no streams. It's a holiday week. You should take some time off. Spend time with your family and friends. I know we are. But the week after that, remember every Tuesday and Wednesday, 1 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, we hang out right here on Twitch. It's called Atomic Mass Transmissions Live, but you already know that because you just watched it. So you should tell all your friends and family. That's what you can do on the 4th of July. You can eat a burger and a hot dog and watch the past transmissions. That sounds fun, Tony. Do a paint jam with Grandma. She'd be like, well, let's watch the fireworks. You'd be like, let's paint my terrain, Grandma. Won't that be fun for you? And for all the latest news, information, and announcements coming from Atomic Mass Games, check us out on Twitter and or Instagram. So until next time, catch you later. Keep on painting. Go be heroes. Bye. Sif. She's an Asgardian. Bum bum.